Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. These right here are my Thompson Baja Boss pizza cutter 255/85/17 tires that I've had on my truck for about 20,000 miles, and I'm going to give you guys an honest review about what it's been like so far, the pros, the cons, a little bit of footage, so stay tuned, and hopefully this will help you know if this is a good way to go. All right, so first thing I'm going to cover is the tread. And you can see I've got maybe an 1/8, a 16th, or 3/16, something like that left in there. And that's probably my biggest disappointment. They just wore out fast. They come with a ton of tread. I don't even want to say exactly, but I think it's more than a 1/2 inch. I think it's like 19-30 seconds or something like that. And you can see the side tread still has pretty good tread depth left, but the center tread technically is illegal to drive in the snow in Colorado without chains, even with 4-wheel drive. That being said, to be fair, I had some really bad upper control arms in the front, the SPC adjustable control arms. They had really soft bushings and the ball joints kept going out on me. And it was so bad that I was getting understeer to the degree of popping off the traction control in the middle of turns if I drove any faster than grandpa speed. And that was wearing these tires out really fast and making them pretty loud prematurely. As soon as I switched to the Dirt King new UCAs with the bigger ball joints in there, and they have the stiff polyurethane bushings, the tire wear started evening out. I didn't get that weirdness in the turns, and the mileage in terms of like how slow the tread wear was wearing really improved. So I can't really say that these wore down in 20,000 miles to that. I'd be willing to bet that it would actually have been almost twice as good had I had these Dirt Kings from the start. The next thing I'll talk about is durability. And actually they're really durable. That is probably the worst thing that has happened to them. It's a nice little chunk taken out of there, and I'm not easy on these tires. I'll show you this little clip where I'm going off-road. This isn't really a steep clip. I just wanted to show you guys the rocks that I drive on in Colorado. And you can even see here, this is what the average chunking looks like on these. It's really not bad. The rocks are just razor sharp in Colorado, and I am not easy on these. I've got this thing loaded down. Currently, it's holding with that. There's an elk in that cooler that my son shot this weekend. Currently, it's holding well over payload. I've got about 2,000 pounds in here, and we're airing down to about 20 PSI off-road, and I'm running about 45 PSI on-road. But you can see I'm airing down about as low as you can without getting into the bead. And like those are marks from rocks, and the sidewalls, they just seem like indestructible. Like the tread compound's definitely softer than the sidewall, which I really like. And when you do air down, that stiff sidewall gets nice and soft, and it molds around the rocks and makes for a really comfortable ride off-road. Going over these rocky rocks, these would have torn up my General ATX Humvee. They probably would have popped like they did on other stuff like this. This side tread also, I'm gonna show you in a second what that side tread looked like after going through the mud. It is like a train track when you air down. It flattens out, and you also get the added benefit if you air down enough. Where are we here? Made in the USA, prints all over the mud. They're shedding the mud, and those side treads are wicked, especially when you air down. I got these at 20 PSI. They just grab, and they do not hold on to it. So I only have, gosh, 3/16 of an inch of tread on these. And in the mud, they're still doing fantastic. Here's the other side. You can see how deep I was. There was a creek bottom. We had to ride through there. And yeah, we went through like a tractor. Just awesome, awesome tires. As far as road noise goes, they're about the same as my last set, which was the General Grabber ATX, which is pretty impressive because that was a really soft tire. I literally popped 4 of those before I got to their tread life, and that was from sidewalls failing. I've also run the Toyo Open Country, and those were a little bit quieter, but those were horrible in the snow and ice. Just slippery as all get out. And these things in the snow and ice, as far as an AT tire goes, really good. They're not as good as a dedicated snow tire, but they do the trick. You can see from the tread pattern here, this center tread is designed to hold snow with these tighter lugs. and that holds snow and that gives you traction, whereas these outer ones are like a mud terrain, open, and that's gonna dig. So you're getting a little bit of both in this tire. They do great in the mud. These shed the mud really well. I'll show you that in a second. This holds the mud, but it'll also hold snow, which gives you better traction in the snow. So you're really trying to get both. I think it does a better job in the mud than in the snow personally, but I have aired down in the snow and got this side tread in it, and even though it digs a little bit, it's floating and it holds on. You just got to go slow so that snow compresses underneath you. A lot of people have asked me, like, what do I think of the cornering stability with these because they're narrow? I'm shocked, I really am. They're, 10 centimeters narrower than stock, I think. These are 255s, whereas stock is 265, and they handle great. I mean, I don't drive super fast, but I haven't had them lose traction on me. I'm running pretty soft suspension. I got the Bilstein 6100s in here, which they do great on road, but for how much weight I'm carrying, I have more body roll than I have traction issues, and they're definitely not unstable at highway speeds. I think if you aired them up a little bit, like if you were in the 50s or 60s, you're running more center tread patch, like if you don't have the right tire pressure, that might be an issue. But if you're at like 45 PSI with this much weight, it's rock solid. Wet traction, super soft compound, grips extremely well, even on cold, wet roads. Which even though we get snow here, the main issue in Colorado is wet, because they take good care of the roads here as long as you're in the city, and these suckers hold on like a snow tire on wet. You also have a dedicated rain channel in here, just like a street tire in a sense. So that channels the water and it gives it a nice exit through these mud terrain eggs. I've never, not even once, hydroplaned in this thing. If it wasn't for the pizza cutters, I would have one major gripe on these, and that they are a super heavy tire. The fact that these are a 255 width makes up for that. So that's the only way that these would work out with, I have the small V6, the 4.6 on this truck, and all that weight I have. Rotational weight is a huge deal when it comes to braking, cornering, and acceleration, and your mileage. For those of you that are like, who cares, it's a truck? I care, because I go overlanding for a long way, and that extends my range. That's the main reason I got these, the narrow ones. They don't get that bad of gas mileage. I get 16 miles a gallon on the highway with all this weight. And I don't think it would be the same if I had wider tires. So if you're looking to go for a wider tire, you better have a big engine to move these guys without straining it and causing issues. But even then, you're going to have braking issues unless you upgrade your brakes, or you're going to have, handling. It's just going to turn in slow. I'm a big fan of the pizza cutters, and when you air them down, they get just as wide. You can take a look at the video that's on Tinker's Adventure about that. He did a test, and they're pretty darn almost identical to a wide tire when you air them down, with some subtle differences. So off-road, they do excellent. I had two 85s on here before, and these, the qualities of this tire outperform those other tires in a wider tire off-road, and they weigh these weigh a little less than the general ATX in that size. I'm pretty sure. If not, they're within about a pound or two. So definitely my recommendation is go to a pizza cutter if you're going to get these, or if you don't need to carry that much weight, don't get the load rating E, which is what these are. If you get the regular, I think the D rating, they're not that heavy, but you're also going to get a weaker sidewall, and I don't think you get the same quality tread on the sidewalls either. All in all, would I buy these again? Hell yes. Even if they wore out down to this low with normal wear and tear after 20,000 miles, hell yes. This is the only off-road tire I've ever been excited to purchase again. The only caveat is I can't justify geeking out for tens or dozens of hours online reading tire reviews until something spectacular happens, because there's just no need for me to choose a different tire. But I'm gonna use that time and energy on researching other things for my truck. As you can see, I've done a lot to it. It's all rock crawlered out, and I've got a good camper system. Stay tuned, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that alert bell if you wanna see the next video, because if it's not this next video, coming up, I'm gonna do a full tour of the truck with all the details of what I've done. And I did not build this thing for form. I built it for function. So if you're in the function camp, function over form, stay tuned, because I think you'll appreciate what I did to this ugly but very functional beast. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.